Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this upload I will be talking about the esoteric state of non-judgment specific to the emotional state of happiness, because in the state of non-judgment we're able to enjoy unfettered access to the full energetic resource of existence or God. And I think that this is one of the easiest ways to tap into this infinite intelligence and this power that we're always talking about. So I'm going to talk a bit more about an activation a bit later. I do want to mention here that the metaphysical version of the word judgment that I'm using refers to the cogitatio humana, and so non-judgment in this context means to suspend or to do away with that, with the cogitatio humana, or human thought, roughly translated. It's not quite as linear a translation as that, but that's ostensibly what I'm talking about. So it's not judgment in the heavenly judiciary sense that you come across in the biblical books of John 1 through 3 or the book of Revelation. So whenever you hear me use the word judgment in this context, simply think human cognition and human conclusion. So this link between happiness and non-judgment works for those of you new to this concept, because judgment of this type is an exclusively human concern, and in its absence we are acting as and from our divinity, which is very important. I always try to mention this duality of us because we are two things all the time, and we can operate from one or the other aspect of ourselves at will. But we also have the option to be a completely normal human being, which lives exclusively divinely, or we can so discipline our human aspect that we're performing on the human side as the servant of our divinity, or whatever you want to call it, maybe not servant, friend or something. But so we have this dual aspect. We can be one or the other. We can be exclusively divine, or we can be exclusively human, which a lot of us do, and experience a lot of dissonance actually, because that goes against our nature. But we can be normal, everyday human beings who are operating as the apparatus, if you like, the extension of our divinity. And that's the best way to live your life. It leads to all sorts of wonderful things being revealed to you, all sorts of incredible things that you're able to do. And I'll go into that in another day. Back to this connection between happiness and non-judgment of the type I described, human conclusion and human thought. We want to focus on how it is that we can tap into this resource that we have at will. So my encouragement to everybody who listens to me is always to get super confident about the fourth dimension, sometimes called the realm of the wondrous, and accept without controversy that what happens there outstrips in every way, is far superior in every way to what happens here in the third dimensional world. And at the same time, while you're getting confident about that, get confident, or even more confident, about who you are as divinity and what it is that you can do with your human body or with your human aspect. What you experience in your imagination is far more real than what you experience as your human aspect. And that's something I'd like you to think about as you contemplate this idea of the esoteric state of happiness. I also want to mention here that acting as and from our divinity is entirely effortless. Neville Goddard, our great godfather, excuse me, I love Neville and many of you do. He tells us that we can get used to this sort of thing by using our subjective senses, the senses, the spiritual senses of touch, sight, hearing, smell, taste, and intuition on a regular basis. In fact, Neville says never waste an opportunity to use these senses lovingly on behalf of self or on behalf of someone else. So as we get into the habit of using our imagination consciously, using our subjective senses, we are practicing acting as the divine. And that is the optimal state to be in this convergence, of the two aspects of self. When we use our subjective senses to cultivate an action and embody our human experiences, we're doing so in non-judgment. So we're doing that as our divine, or as our divine selves. And this is the key to happiness, to true happiness. The reason why it's the key to the esoteric state of happiness is because when we use our imagination consciously in the way I've described, using our subjective senses, all limitations are eliminated and we are truly free. We know that when we perform a prayer in our imagination, or cultivate a scene, or do whatever it is that we do with our imagination consciously, there is literally nothing that we cannot do. I think double negative, so positive, yeah. So we can do anything. We can have, be, and do anything in our imagination. And so when we're using our senses, when we're aware of the fact that what's going on in our imagination is more real than what our human aspect is going through, we are truly happy, or we are attaining the state, the esoteric state of happiness. As you do this, as you develop confidence in the reality of what you experience in imagination, and you reach the point where you know that what happens in the fourth dimension is more real than what happens here in the physical world, you are living in that converged state, that state that state of your human aspect being the servant of your divinity. So that's something that we can work towards. It's something we can think about, make part of our daily practice, part of our daily focus. But what happens then if you aren't quite there yet? You wanting to get a taste of this happiness? Well, what you can do is to use the very simple activation I'm going to describe to you now to tap into the esoteric state of happiness. And I recommend that you're doing that while you're working towards making the esoteric state of happiness your predominant mood or your psychological framework. It has all manner of incredible benefits. There's something magical about this esoteric state. When you are in the perpetual state of happiness, you're going to find that life becomes a very effortless thing for you, because what happens is that life has to begin to bend and flex and shape and form itself into physical things and experiences that confirm that that is what your state is. So this takes that idea that we're familiar with a little bit further. We're being reminded here that the things that make you truly happy will be instantly attracted to you. They have to show up, not in an intangible or euphemistic way, but in a real way, the same way that our mood is reflected by difficult circumstances. Difficult moods or unhappy moods are reflected by difficult circumstances. The perpetual esoteric state of happiness is going to bring to you everything that confirms that you are happy. And this is one of the things that makes, as Neville says, this idea of trying to manifest things here and there completely unnecessary to you. It also frees you to focus on the mandate that you've been given in the world. So we all know that we are playing a specific role in the great drama orchestrated by God before the world began. We have been given a job to do. Every time we cycle, we're given something else to do. When you are happy, and only in the esoteric state of happiness will you be free to focus on your heavenly mandate. So that's going to be particularly appealing for those of you who have a spiritual appetite. For those of you who are focused on your spiritual life, going deeper into this work, going deeper into this knowledge, this state is going to get you there fastest. So while you're waiting for this to become your predominant mood, your psychological framework, why don't you have a taste of what this state has to offer? I'm going to share with you an activation now. It's very, very simple and straightforward. It's a 3-step process, but it enables you to enter into this state. And you can enter into this state often, if you like, through this activation, and then allow it to become your predominant mood that way. Or you can go about it as part of your focus, your usual daily practice, and so on. But let me just share the activation with you very quickly. So step 1, in a relaxed, comfortable, seated position, place your feet flat on the ground, close your eyes and breathe deeply and evenly. This time you're going to set your own rhythm. So it's not the in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. It's just an in and out breathing with your eyes closed that you set in a way that's comfortable for you. Step 2, after a few breaths, I want you to start to smile gently. Still keep your eyes closed. And as you smile, imagine that your throat is filling with light. Now, the light you see will be brilliantly bright. It's going to look white, but it's actually gold. As this happens, I want you to feel your epiglottis vibrate. So it's the tickle at the back of the throat that comes with excitement. So as your throat is filling with light, feel your epiglottis vibrate. As I say, the tickle, that excitement. You remember that when you were a child and things, that tickle at the back of the throat. Okay, step 3. Allow the light to travel down your throat and then into your lungs, illuminating your lungs. So you should be able to see, or you will be able to see, your lungs glowing. You might be able to see all the vessels and the pulmonary system and so on in your lungs. It's going to be glowing. So just allow that to happen. If you're not able to see that, just allow yourself to imagine that you're seeing that. And then what's going to happen is that the light is going to converge into a single beam and continue its path through your solar plexus. As it passes through your solar plexus, it will illuminate your visceral organs. As this illumination of your visceral organs happens, you will begin to feel stimulation in your creative vortex, which is your genitalia. If this embarrasses you, feel free to break state safely and try again when you're feeling more protected by privacy. But for those of you who are comfortable to continue as this happens, allow it to build. So this sensation from the throat right down to your creative vortex is your neutral sense. That's what it's called. It's called your neutral sense. So just allow that to build and then breathe in and out comfortably as this sensation is building until you feel a surge of energy leave your body. Now, this isn't quite the same as that climactic point that Neville describes, but it is a discernible surge of energy. Then continue to breathe. And as you become aware of your surroundings, become more cognitively aware, open your eyes. You can say thank you and then continue your day. And that's all there is to it. Everything you do from that moment will be infused with this energy. So all you have to do is enjoy the benefits of this activity. Now, in my experience, what shows up straight away is relational ease. I'm able to engage in compassionate listening when I'm dealing with people. I have sort of deeper dialogue with people. Things that are useful to me show up in surprising ways. Things that cheer me up, things that make me happy show up, and so on. But the results, the outcomes will be bespoke to you. You don't need to look for anything specific. Just enjoy all the good things that are happening and notice how things are different. And as I say, you can use this, you can dip in and out of using this activation, dip in and out of that state as often as you like, just to become acclimatized to it. I'm often asked why the techniques I describe are often so simple. And my answer is this: what I'm describing to you are resources that you already have, and skills and abilities and capabilities and so on that you already have. So when you hear it, it sounds very straightforward and uncomplicated, but these techniques are immeasurably effective. It's just a measure of how powerful you already are that makes it seem so simple. I don't need to go into great detail. What I aim to do with my content on my channel is to stimulate thoughts in you and ideas and inquiry that you then go on and make your own and take further. So we're all from the same source. We all have the same ability. I'm just here to kind of say, hi, remember this, or I remember that. So that's what my job is. So there you have it. The key to the esoteric state of happiness is rooted in you. It is found in the deference of your human aspect to your divinity. And you can achieve this by the continued routine use of your subjective senses. Please use the instant activation above whenever you need a boost, or whenever you are feeling after the esoteric state of happiness and you want to remind yourself of what it feels like, so you have an energetic registry that you recognize when you go into your various meditations and so on. Until we are together again, stay phenomenally you. I do hope, as I've said, that you've enjoyed this upload. Feel free to make any comment, ask any question in the comment section below, and I'll be with you very soon. This has been an original Catherine Jigede presentation.